You're at the changing mat and you catch yourself doing it again. Narrating. Okay, one more snap. There we go, all clean. Good job. And your baby just looks at you. No words back, no nod. Just that wide, steady, unblinking stare. And some quiet part of you wonders if this is a little bit silly. They can't understand a word yet. So why keep talking? Here is what nobody tells you. Your baby is not waiting to understand your words. Your baby is already understanding something far older than words and far more important. They are feeling whether the world is safe or not. They are feeling whether someone comes when they reach them. And your voice, right now, on that changing mat, is the answer to that question. In the next few minutes, you'll learn exactly what your baby feels when you talk to them, why it matters more than any flashcard or app, and a single Japanese word that names the whole thing. You don't need to be clever. You don't need a script. You just need to keep doing what you already do. Most parents miss this because we've been taught that talking to a baby is about teaching, building vocabulary, getting a head start. So when the baby can't talk back, the whole thing can feel a little pointless. But the real work of your voice has almost nothing to do with words and everything to do with a feeling. The Japanese have a word for that feeling. Amae. It's hard to translate cleanly, which is part of why it's so useful. The psychiatrist Takeo Doi spent much of his career on it and described amae as the warm security of being able to depend on another person and trust completely that they will accept you. It is the feeling of leaning and being held, of presuming, gently, that you are loved and being proven right over and over. That is what your baby feels first. Not, she is telling me about the diaper. But, the voice I trust is here and it is turned toward me. Long before your baby can parse a sentence, they can feel the difference between a voice that is present and a voice that has gone away. Amae is the experience of the present voice. It is your baby discovering again and again, in 1,000 tiny everyday moments, that when they need you, you turn toward them. That feeling is not a luxury, and it is not spoiling them. It is the foundation that everything else in their life will be built on top of. And you build it without ever trying. Every time you answer a cry, every time you greet them in the morning, every time your voice arrives just a half second after they fuss, another small brick goes into place. And it starts earlier than you would ever guess. Researchers DeCasper and Spence found that newborns, only days old, already prefer their own mother's voice to a stranger's. They had learned it in the womb. So on the very day your baby is born, your voice is already the most familiar sound in the world to them. It is home before they have ever seen home. Notice, too, how your voice changes when you talk to a baby. It climbs higher, it slows down. It swoops and lifts in these exaggerated, musical little curves. You might feel slightly ridiculous doing it in front of other adults. You are, in fact, doing something exactly right. The researcher Anne Fernald showed that this melodic way of speaking, the thing often called motherese, is not meaningless babble. Its rises and falls carry emotional information a baby can read long before the actual words land. The melody itself says, "You are safe, I am close, I delight in you." And there is a deeper layer underneath even that. Work by Ruth Feldman on parent and infant synchrony has shown how a baby's body and a parent's body tend to fall into rhythm together. Attention, calm, and even the rhythms of the heart. When you speak in that warm, slow, sing-song voice, you are not simply being heard. You are helping to regulate a nervous system that cannot yet regulate itself. You are lending your baby your calm until they slowly grow their own. Picture your 3-month-old May, winding herself up toward a full cry. You lift her, and without even thinking, you drop your voice into that low, slow, rolling hush. Within a minute, her breathing starts to find the shape of yours. Nothing magic happened. Your steady body simply offered hers a rhythm to borrow. That is co-regulation, and it happens every time your voice arrives before the words ever do. But here's the part most parents never notice. You assume the conversation hasn't really started yet, because the words aren't coming. But watch closely the next time you talk to your baby, and then go quiet. Often, in that pause, something happens. A kick of the legs, a soft coo, a little open mouth. a sudden brightening of the eyes. They are answering you, in their own currency, but unmistakably answering. The developmental scientist Colwyn Trevarthen called these proto-conversations and found that babies take turns within them with startling precision, long before a single real word arrives. Harvard's Center on the Developing Child describes the same pattern as serve and return. Your baby serves, you return. You serve, they return. The Japanese even have a word for the meaningful silence that holds a conversation together, the pause that is not empty, but full. Your pauses are not dead air. They're the space you leave open for your baby to step into. So when you talk to your baby, leave room. Say something, then wait. The waiting is not a break in the conversation. The waiting is the exact place where your baby learns that their voice matters, because someone always pauses to listen for it. Now, about that head start, everyone secretly worries about. Here is the part that should take the pressure off completely. Patricia Kuhl, a leading researcher on the infant brain, ran a now famous study. Babies were exposed to a brand new language, Mandarin, by a live person who sat with them, played with them, and spoke to them. Those babies soaked up the new sounds beautifully. Another group got the exact same Mandarin, the same person, and the same amount of it, but delivered through a screen or through audio alone. Those babies learned almost nothing. Same words, same voice. The only difference was that one version was a real person, present and responding to them. Kuhl called this social gating. The baby brain treats language not as information to download, but as something that flows through relationships. Your baby is not learning English or any language in the abstract. They are learning it from you, inside the warmth of being spoken to by someone who loves them. Which means the app cannot do your job. The screen cannot do your job. The most ordinary thing in the entire world, your voice, turned toward your baby in the same room, is exactly what the developing brain was built to use. And if you ever doubt how much your voice is really doing, consider what happens when it stops. In the 1970s, the psychologist Edward Tronick designed an experiment now known as the still face. A parent plays warmly with their baby, talking, smiling, responding to every little sound. Then, on cue, the parent goes blank. Same face, same person, right there in front of them, but silent, flat, unresponsive. The babies notice within seconds. They smile harder, they reach, they point, and they try every single tool they have to bring the parent back. And when the warmth still does not return, they begin to fall apart. They look away. They fuss. Some of them go quiet and still themselves. What the still face reveals is almost unbearable in its clarity. To a baby, a present, responsive voice is not pleasant background noise. It is the difference between a world that is holding them and a world that has suddenly dropped them. That is amae, shown to us in the negative. The very thing they grieve when it vanishes is the thing you are giving freely every single time you say good morning to them. So let's be honest about real life for a moment. You will not always be warm and present. You will be exhausted, scrolling your phone, snapping a little, running on far too little sleep, and sometimes silent simply because you have nothing left to give. That is not the still face experiment, and you are not harming your baby. Tronick's own most important finding is the one that usually gets left out. After the still face, when the parent comes back and reconnects, the babies recover. That return is everything. Babies are not built for parents who never falter. They are built for parents who come back. So you do not have to narrate every waking second or perform a joy you do not feel. You cannot spoil a baby with too much of your voice, and you cannot ruin one with a quiet afternoon. The repair, the simple turning back toward them, is the whole secret. And you already know how to do it. So the next time you are at the changing mat, narrating one more snap to a baby who only stares back, you will know what is really happening inside that quiet. You are not talking to yourself. You are not waiting for them to catch up. You are giving your baby the first and deepest thing a human being can receive, the felt certainty that they are not alone, that when they reach it, a voice they trust will turn toward them. That is amae. And you are building it, one ordinary sentence at a time, Your baby will not remember a single word you said to them this year, but they will carry the feeling of it for the rest of their life. That sense, settled somewhere deep in the body, that the world is a place where someone answers. You are not just a voice to your baby. You are their very first proof that love is something a person can count on. So tonight, try the small, ordinary thing. Narrate, then pause, and wait for them to answer in their own way. Tell us in the comments what your baby's favorite reply looks like. The kick, the coo, the wide-open grin. And if this gave you a little permission to relax, subscribe, and share it with another tired parent who needs to hear that they are already more than enough.